we're like a mirror image. It's like we're split down the
Tim,
middle.
what did
Pop
you not
filter.
understand about I'm gonna start the show?
Yeah, and I'm helping you start it, Daniel. It's a hangout. I'm being entertaining,
Ladies,
unlike what you're doing.
ladies and gentle ladies, this is a first for the You, Me, and BTC podcast. We've talked about this over the last month or so, and we might not even be the You, Me, and BTC podcast for super long, or we might keep it around but trim down and start a new one or something. I don't know. But this is a first for this group of guys right here. We're just having a hangout. We might talk about Bitcoin a little bit. We might not. We might tell stories. I don't know where we're going with this. We were just bored tonight, and we figured we'd hang out on Hangouts. Wow. All right.
God, he just made
I
this sound so
am.
bad.
I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with.
Everyone who doesn't have a life, apparently.
True.
Well, that's what
I
made
mean,
it sound
you said
real.
we were bored, but
Yeah.
you don't actually know that.
You're the only one who
That's
said
true.
you
I
were
was
bored.
You're right. You're right.
We
I
wanted to
was
be
bored.
productive. It's still light there. It's dark now.
I was trying to write a song, and you interrupted. No. Well, actually, kind
This
of.
is the song. You're going to take this whole 60... Yeah, we're shooting for an hour, just if anyone cares. Give or take, around an hour. But this is your song, John. You're going to take all this audio, and it's going to become your debut, like platinum album. So
I don't think so.
I still want your guys' names. I'm Daniel Brown, and I'm here with...
Tim Baker. I've already done that once. Tim Baker's here, and I'm John Stewart, but Tim Baker's also here.
Hey, and we have our super special guest with us today. He was on the show, I want to say back in episode 18, 20, 25, I don't know. He was on the show a long time ago, just for a little bit, just to hang out, just to say hi. Lyle Tit, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Daniel. How are you?
Yeah, that is Tyler, our good buddy, good old buddy Tyler. So.
Oh, I helped with that Butterfly Labs video too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
that.
gosh. Hey, if you don't know about Butterfly Labs or our Butterfly Labs video, go to ymb.tc/BFL. ymb.tc/BFL.
Non-viral video.
Hey, it went viral. We're at
It was so viral we needed medicine.
We're probably at least like 7 or 8 views right now. I mean, that's like, and that's not counting my mom. So.
It's like, damn, this is so good.
That?
I don't know. I have no idea. But no, we're way above.
I never know if John there is like if you're just like trying to.
All right, nobody
trying to
cares.
bomb what he said, or if you like actually thought that his mom watched it, or if that's just all part of it there.
My
All right,
grandma watched
so
it.
like
She was
I
like,
said,
"Why are you so violent?"
like I said, this is literally just a hangout. I have no idea where it's going, but right before 7 o'clock my time or 10 o'clock Eastern, right before we started, John said, "I have an idea," and I said, "Stop there. We have to start." So John has some kind of an idea. I don't know what it is. Something about, we were talking about whiskey or something. And so it's time for John to, it's that part of the show where John shares his advanced ideas.
No, wait, this is the part of the show where Daniel sucks John's mental cock for about 5 minutes.
Don't even talk like that. I'm uncomfortable with that.
Don't.
All right, John, what's the idea?
First of all, I'm going to say that it's Daniel's fault because he's making us start off this. He had no idea what I was going to say. I was going to say it before we went on the air, so it's probably not worth it, but it's Daniel's fault now, so I have freedom to say whatever.
Cleansed of all responsibility.
Anyways, so Dan and I have been talking for like probably, I don't even know how long, over a year probably more than that, I don't remember, about starting like a coffee company.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I've had all these ideas about making a coffee shop that turns into a bar at night and like all this stuff, and like I was talking with my friend about it a couple weeks ago, and he was like saying that he had been thinking about starting a board game bar, and I'm like, dude, just come on board with this thing. It'll be like a board game bar at night and a cafe in the day. But the idea I had today, the idea I had today was, so something that's kind of becoming sort of popular in like really obscure coffee shops, so it's not actually popular, but it's like hip or whatever, is having nitrogenated iced coffee or like cold brewed coffee. So it's like coffee with nitrogen, like things are carbonated, or like, I mean, Guinness, I guess, is nitrogenated too. So it's like that, but with coffee. And I like have had this thing for a while where I really wish that we had canned coffee and vending machines everywhere. Like in Japan, they have coffee in cans that comes from vending machines, and it's like hot coffee, not cold coffee. But I was like, what if I started?
Yeah, they have that. They have that here. I saw them a lot in Europe too.
I've never seen it here. They have like iced coffee at like gas stations, but it's just Starbucks stuff, and that's like
Yeah, it's the
all
glass
sugared up and, like,
containers. Yeah, it's just
no,
like mocha chocolate.
they do have cans, but they're like those double shot things, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
some of them are
Yeah,
those
those, like,
energy
double shot
drinks too. They have like those Java Monster
yeah.
whatever things.
But no, I just want like black coffee nitrogenated in a can, and I was like, what if I started a company that did that, started selling it like it was like soda or something, but it's just like black coffee. I guess I could
I'd
do
like
like
that too.
stuff that was not black too,
Oh.
just for people, just to
Yeah.
have variety, but like just having a because all those ones that I've seen in cans too, I don't think are nitrogenated.
Why? What's the charge? What makes it better?
I've never actually had it. It was just a thought, because it's like a hip thing right now. So I was like, oh, I could do that. I want to try it. I feel like I would like it. I mean, it's like bubbly, but it's not as like harsh as carbonated things. It's softer.
John the
bubbles are
hipster
smaller.
kid.
I mean,
Oh, out of all those, John's definitely the hipster.
So it's like sparkling coffee.
no,
yeah,
because
but it's-
sparkling water is still more
the thing is,
carbon.
carbonated things like water and carbon is carbonic acid, so that's why like soda is acidic and like beer is acidic, and why flat stuff actually tastes less acidic because it is less acidic. So like nitrogenated stuff doesn't have as much acidity, and also the bubbles are smaller, so it's smoother. It's not like as what's the word that they use?
Refreshing.
Effervescent. That's the word I was looking for. It's not as effervescent. Like it's smoother.
Yeah, effervescent, good stuff.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Effervescent quality. Ooh.
But no, like, I mean, I guess having nitrogenated would add like a novelty element that might make
Yeah.
you want to buy it more.
I'd
And-
just plant like black coffee in a can. That sounds like
And also
I
the
know.
nitrogenated thing might
Why
make it a little bit
I'm
more
really
refreshing.
adding a lot to this.
It might be more refreshing. Too. I don't know. I've
So
never had it.
basically
I
your
need to
idea-
try this to see if it's actually good. If I actually like would rather have it nitrogenated or not nitrogenated, but
But that's your idea, is to put nitrogenated canned coffee in vending machines, right?
And just
yeah,
get the
I mean,
entire
even if it
world
wasn't in
hooked on it.
vending machines to begin with, like, because it started out as a small company, obviously, I'd probably just like, well, if I have my coffee shop, I could sell it there, and then maybe get it in like grocery stores and gas stations or whatever,
You
and
could,
then.
you could do it online, couldn't you? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That'd
definitely.
probably be the best way to
Put it
do
in
it.
like that fancy beer
Because
section of
you don't
like,
have.
So-
No, not the beer section,
like
but
that aisle, like where you buy it.
It'd be more probably like in
Yeah.
where they have tea and iced coffee already,
Mm.
like iced tea. It'd be like something like that. But
Here's
I guess
the thing,
it
though.
probably
Here's
be
the
more of like a gourmet thing, like a more expensive. Like it wouldn't be like a 99-cent can.
Oh, it'd have to be a dope
That-
ass can. Definitely.
That reminds me. I have two things real quick. That reminds me of
Cheeky
this
stuff.
like gourmet Pepsi that they just started making. It's called like 1883 or something. It's like a year, and it's like it's made by Pepsi, and it's like a gourmet cola. Like their advertisements are like golden and sharp and clear, and it's like so classy and like fancy, and it's supposed to be this like, I don't know, some kind of high class cola. And I looked for it a couple times because I wanted to try it, and I didn't actually. I heard it was not that interesting, which I guess is to be expected, but it reminded me of that. It was kind of funny.
You ever
but,
had Miller High Life, Daniel?
I drink it every night. No,
Case
or
in
maybe
point.
I probably have. I don't know.
Case in point.
But yeah, and then if it did end up getting vending machines, we could have it warmed too, like how they have the Japanese vending
How do
machines
they
where it's
do
like
it?
I don't know. I just know that
Warm
they have warm
Japanese
canned coffee in vending machines.
I was gonna say, how would they do like
How
hot?
warm?
house.
It's like the
I
metal
don't
like
know.
kind of suck.
I mean, it can't be that warm because the can would get really hot. It
Yeah.
has to be like cool enough that it wouldn't burn you, but it's probably like right at the limit where it would start burning you, I would guess.
That's here's the tough thing though, John. As soon as you start packaging something, your capital costs have to go way up.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, the thing is, you can get
Can.
canning things that do like 2 cans at a time and
So
do it
many
by
cans.
hand. Like
okay,
I've
okay.
seen, and that's the thing. If I started this coffee shop and I was only selling it there, I could just can it by hand or like pay a couple friends to like come over on the weekends and
Yeah,
just like do a bunch of cans and
and just sell
only
them
sell them
online.
there.
Yeah,
I only sell them in store because I mean online I feel like it would get bigger much faster. I don't. You'd have to take it step at a time, but I would imagine that you'd probably want to sell in person, like in the store first,
okay.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah, that
start
makes
selling
sense.
online. And
And that
then
would be doable with just, a home canning system or something. So,
yeah, I mean I've seen like I've watched a lot of documentaries about beer breweries because I have no life. And I've seen a bunch of things where like breweries started out where they were just like a brew pub where you could only drink the beer like from the taps in the place. It was like a restaurant that made their own beer. And then they started with like a hand canning machine thing that did
okay.
like 3 or 4 cans at a time or whatever and like started selling it in the store and then started getting it into like local stores, like local
I've
grocery stores and then
I've been pretty highly considering making my own beer recently because there's like a home brew shop like right down the road.
you
And
should
I know
do
you
it and
tried.
then yeah.
Yeah, I know you tried it. Have you tried it recently? Is it still going okay or
I haven't. I'm going to soon start doing it again though. The reason I stopped is because well, because of time. Like I didn't have that much time, but I think I'll have a more like normal schedule pretty soon and I'll be able to do it. And B because
I
of
don't
money.
know.
So I think part of the reason I'm not saying I'm going to have more free time, it's just that the time I have is going to be more regimented so
True, true, true. Yep.
I can schedule things out a little bit better, but also money, because I think like the reason that the batches I made didn't turn out like super well is because I didn't have enough of the equipment that I
Yeah,
need.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember John when we started smoking pipes, and I remember you telling me that you were so cheap you wouldn't even buy a $1 pipe tool, and you had to use a nail instead.
No, I did buy the pipe tool. I
Eventually.
don't think that was because I was so cheap. I think it was just because I was just like I wasn't gonna buy it online because
Okay.
like why would I buy something online for $1 and then pay like $2 for shipping?
Or more. I don't know. It's hard to
See,
get shipping for
I
less
think
than
I
like
bought
4 or
it when I
5
saw
bucks.
one in an actual tobacco store. That was like the first time I
Okay,
saw
okay,
one in an
okay.
actual tobacco store, I bought it. I was just not going to buy something and pay more for shipping than the actual thing.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, for anyone just joining us, because I know that we're stacking up the viewers right now, you can, if you're interested in chiming in on, warm nitrogenated canned
What would start
coffee in
out
a
cold?
vending machine, or or
Which do
home
you
brewing
prefer,
beer.
actually? I think that's going to be the contentious issue here, is who prefers their coffee lukewarm and who prefers it freezing cold.
All right, all
Oh,
right. So here's what that means, John. Or Tim, that question right there means it's time for a poll. So for the next 5 minutes or so, I'm gonna go make a poll, and I'm gonna embed it on our website, ymb.tc/live.
no,
You
don't
can
make it
go
that
there.
easy for them. No, they have to come into the chat. You'll have a board behind you and you'll mark it.
No,
Anyway,
there's a
no.
chat on our website. I was getting there too. For anyone just joining us, you can tweet us to
That's,
@UMe and PTC if you have comments, or there's a chat on
both
our
are good.
website, ymb.tc/live. There's also a tweet button on that same page. If you want to get in touch with us, tell us what you're thinking or what we should talk about, let me know. But I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes setting up that poll. if you would rather have lukewarm nitrogenated canned coffee from a vending machine or cold nitrogenated canned coffee from a vending machine. So while I go and do that, I don't know. I'm turning it over to someone to tell the next story or to keep talking about what were we just talking about? Home brewing or something?
Home brewing in the coffee with the
Yeah.
poles.
So I'm gonna start my timer here and see how long it takes for you guys to pick up this conversation here. Go.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, I'll just fill it in like for a little bit with. I'm just gonna throw my vote for freezing cold coffee. I haven't really drank hot coffee in a week, like
But
a couple weeks
do
actually.
you prefer freezing cold coffee, or is that just what you're voting for because you're a lazy asshole?
How does that make me a lazy asshole?
Because you don't like making a decision.
What? No, I like it just cold. Like normally, whenever I make
So you're
coffee now, or
saying
when I
that's what I was asking. I was asking if you prefer that, or if you're just voting that because that's the first thing that came to mind. But now you're saying that's what you like.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
I
that
agree.
that was the question, dude. Calm down.
I don't know why that would be the first thing that came
You
to his
talk-
mind.
What does that mean? Like, you talk to me like I'm a child. You're like, I don't know if you actually mean what you say, or if you're just blurting out
No, he's
answers.
too young to know any
Like,
better.
oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know if you're just a deer caught in the headlights. I've talked
I mean,
to
I
you
feel
before.
like if that was true, you would have said hot because like
Yeah, it
most
was like, oh
people
no, I
drink
like hot coffee. Yeah, I definitely. Daniel, I'm sorry. You do not impose me.
Does anyone know how to spell nitrogenated? Sorry, I'm ignoring you, Tim.
Nitrogen.
You're not ignoring me. You just acknowledge me. Learn how to spell, you idiot. My God.
Nitrogen with ATDE.
That's all you learned at the school we went to was how to read it in the book. You didn't actually learn what it did.
Wait, what did I learn?
How to spell it.
When did we ever have nitrogenated on a spelling test?
No, it was in the books though. If you paid attention, I saw
yeah.
nitrogenated in
that
there all
was
the
a
time.
wall word.
There was a whole chemistry section about nitrogenated coffee and the benefits of that versus.
My favorite genated word is hydrogenated because it makes me think of hydrogenated vegetable oil. So that's my favorite word right now.
Okay.
That makes me think of like when I was in Boy Scouts a long time ago. For 1 year, I was in Boy Scouts, and then I left. But there was this kid who used to always say like, he used to always say something. It was like on the back of a Hershey's chocolate bar or something. It said partially hydrogenated, and he used to always be like, "It's partially hydrogenated," just like that. Like you're
right.
just-
That's what's in Mountain Dew. Is Mountain Dew partially hydrogenated?
No,
or
that's high
hydrogenated?
fructose corn syrup. What are you talking about?
No,
I think he's right. I think there's something like that in Mountain Dew.
They don't put oil in Mountain Dew. It's an oil. The partially hydrogenated vegetable is what's in peanut butter. It's what's in Ritz crack.
You're
No,
wrong,
I know it.
Tim.
No, I'm not. It's what's in Ritz crack. That film that you get on your tongue after you eat like a peanut butter or a Ritz cracker. Oil, because I mean it tastes good, but it's the partially hydrogenated oil.
Well,
They don't
other
put
stuff
that in
can
Mountain
probably
Dew.
be partially hydrogenated, and they might put that in Mountain Dew. I wouldn't.
They do.
Hydrogenated.
It's on the
What is
frickin'
hydrogenated?
label.
On partially hydrogenated vegetable oil
Yes.
in Mountain Dew.
I'm not
That's what I was
surprised.
I wasn't sure if it was partially hydrogenated vegetable oil or hydrogenated vegetable oil, but yes, it's in there. Look it up. Somebody please look it up right now. I'm still pasting this poll in, but somebody type in.
Partially.
Are you freaking? All right. Give me 2 seconds, and I'm gonna type it into Google. Mountain Dew ingredients.
I'll put it in, Daniel.
Too bad. I'm gonna beat you.
John, I do have a question for you.
I'm already looking.
It's a little off topic though, but what are your thoughts on the higher-end Squire guitars?
Oh shoot! I was wrong. It's brominated vegetable oil. Crap.
Well, Tim was wrong. There's also
What?
vegetable oil in it.
That might be a color. That's a coloring. Coloring. It better be a coloring.
No. Oh my gosh. Wikipedia. Brominated
No,
vegetable
it's
oil
in Gatorade too.
is a complex mixture of plant-derived triglycerides that have been reacted to contain atoms of the element bromine bonded to the molecules. The oil is used primarily to help emulsify citrus-flavored soft drinks, preventing them from separating during distribution. There we go. And it's banned in some countries, so that's why I drink Mountain Dew every day.
So wait, Wagner, what did you say?
Yeah, I want to know what.
I just asked you what were your thoughts on like the higher end Squire guitars, like the $500 ones or so? Because I've had my eye on like this classic vibe 50s Telecaster. I was debating whether or not to go for it.
See this? This is the cheapest Telecaster that Squire makes.
I can't see anything because Tim's googling something about damn vegetable oil.
Hey,
it was very
vegetable
important.
oil is important.
No, I
So
was
this,
looking it up. I looked it up on Snopes. Apparently, the stuff they have in Mountain Dew is like after the little bit of a scare, they've dropped it by like a lot. Same thing with Gatorade. So drink Mountain Dew now. Now you can show them the guitar. Just like
yeah.
wave it in front of the
So
camera.
this is like the
Look
cheapest.
at it.
This is the cheapest Telecaster that Squire makes. I got it on Purse for $90.
Really?
Yeah, and
Shameless purse plug. Purse.
too bad we're not getting paid for it. But yeah, then I took off the label because I also so this isn't like pretty much everything on this, like both of these pickups are changed. The tuners are like locking tuners that I put on there. I changed this to like a rolling string tree, and I put like Graphtec saddles on here, and like I put new pots in here, and I put strap locks on it. So like pretty much the only thing that still remains is like the fret and the wood. But I like took off the logo on the top because nobody will know that it's a Squire because it's awesome.
Yeah. How's it play? All right.
Yeah,
Like the
it's
frets were playing pretty good.
like I play that guitar probably more than any other guitar now.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right then.
I mean, I also like the finish is completely different. Like that was a black guitar, and I stripped all the finish and did that myself.
Okay.
But
I was gonna say that didn't look like a $90 finish.
oh no. Well, the thing is, eh, it's not like a gloss finish. It's an oil finish,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't do the best job with it, but it like turned out still looking pretty cool. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, for anyone just joining us again and wondering why we're talking about guitars, this is our foray into just straight up entertainment. We're going to talk about whatever just for fun, see how it goes, literally just hang out. So that's what's going on now. You can join us. All of our features are at ymb.tc/live, and I did just get the poll up. So we have a poll going right now. All four of you, or all three of you and me, are welcome to get over there and vote about what kind of coffee you would prefer. Warm nitrogenated coffee from a vending machine, or cold nitrogenated coffee from a vending machine, or neither, or both, or other. You can put in your own answer, and that's at ymb.tc/live. So yeah, you guys can vote. I'm gonna vote here when I make up my mind, and
Oh,
and
can't
we're
wait.
just
We'll
here to hang
cover.
out. So let's see. Anything else? Any other guitar questions or comments? Or I have another idea that I want to do. So yeah, anything?
Wait,
Okay.
what did you just say? Sorry, I wasn't.
I was asking if there's anything else on guitars before we move
Oh,
on.
I was just gonna say to Wagner, like my thoughts on cheap guitars have changed a lot, and like I feel like there's not a lot of good reasons to buy a really expensive electric guitar. I think the most important thing with electric guitars is like whether or not they feel alright, and like most of the other stuff can be changed.
So
Yeah.
this
Pickups
is
and
a
everything.
really good example of a red flag. All right. So I don't know if I've ever actually said this on the air before, but a red flag is where you notice something that seems important. To me, anyway, this is my definition of a red flag. You notice something that seems important, and you try to generalize it as much as possible, and see how it applies to everything in life and what it applies to and what it doesn't apply to. So that example right there would be a red flag where you say like, okay, the specific story is I realized that expensive guitars might not be that much better than cheap guitars, or maybe even cheap guitars are better. That's the specific example. And when you generalize it, you have to ask the question, you know, how does, in everyday life, how often is it that cheap things are as good or better than expensive things? I mean, that applies to everything, including like peanut butter. So what do you guys think? Does that apply pretty well across the board where just because something's cheaper, it can still be pretty decent, or do you get what you pay for? I mean, obviously, it varies from case to case, obviously. But what do you think? How does that generalization work?
I think it really depends on what you're talking about.
So where does it work and where does it not work? Where's the obvious place where it doesn't work? Like what
Well,
are you thinking, John?
so even in the example that I just, well, it's not a perfect example because it really depends what you're going for, but in the example that I just said, like with the guitars, I think it makes a lot bigger difference with acoustic guitars. I think the
Okay,
price.
why is that? Like what is it about acoustic guitars?
Well, there's a lot of things. There's a word for this that people use on the forum, and I can't remember what it is, but it's something. It's basically where people like believe that something. So there's a good example of this is like there's a group of people who believe that like the type of paint that you use on a guitar will have like huge effects on the way it sounds. And like they just nitpick these tiny things that are like so insignificant that it seems absurd. And that happens, but the thing is, I think a lot of the things with electric guitars that people think that like influence the quality of a guitar are things that people took from acoustic guitars that like actually had an influence, and they tried to like they basically said that it carries over. Like one thing is that in an acoustic guitar, like the types of woods that you use makes a huge difference because the wood is like the speaker that's like projecting the sound. But people say that the wood type of wood that you use matters in an electric guitar too. But the problem with that is that the pickups in an electric guitar are magnetic. Like they're not actually microphones. They don't pick up sound. All they pick up is vibration from the strings.
So here's an even broader question maybe. How how obvious is it that one guitar sounds better than another, or is it subjective? I mean, that's what I would ask is maybe people are too concerned about how a guitar sounds, and that's why cheaper ones are just fine because you say that an expensive one is better, but is it really? So is it more subjective, or is it?
Well,
I'm not arguing. I'm literally asking the question because I don't know.
so um, the thing with expensive guitars is that they usually are built much better. Like they're built from materials that are like better materials, like wood that's of higher quality, like has better density or whatever, or like has better grains, or there's like no knots in it and things like that. And like they'll use wood that's cheaper, like the cut is different and the grain might be off, there might be knots in it or something. They might use wood like that and then cheaper guitar. So like if you care about that, that's one reason. The other thing is like usually they feel a little bit better because I mean that's a thing that makes a huge difference how it feels. I guess with an electric guitar, I just think it's like the wood doesn't affect the sound that much, but I think it affects the other things. Like, also, like the finish that it is, like how clean the finish is, how nice it looks, like the amount of time that was
Okay,
spent on the visual appearance is different usually. So if you care about that, it might be worth spending more money.
that's all fair stuff, but I'm wondering like what actually makes one guitar sound better than another. Like I mean, I get that knots can be there or they could not be there in the wood, but is it really true that not having knots makes it sound better? I really like your idea about how it feels though, because that actually seems like it would have an effect. Because if
Well,
the guitarist like enjoying the way his guitar feels, then he might play better or do better. I don't know.
yeah, I mean
But
that's definitely true.
okay. But what about the sound? I mean,
I mean, I think in an acoustic guitar it definitely does because it's exactly what I'm saying. And you can like even if you play two electric guitars like unplugged, you might be able to tell the difference between them. But I think if you have the same electronics in them and you plug them both in and play them, they won't sound
okay.
like really different based on the electronics that are in them. But like like I was saying, with an acoustic guitar, the wood is like the actual speaker. So like saying it has a knot in it. Imagine if you took a speaker like in your car or something, or a speaker like you have a stereo system or whatever, and you like stuck a thumbtack in it. Do you think that would change the sound? Like that's essentially. I mean, I don't know what the physics of knots are, but it's like an irregularity in the wood, and that's not how it's supposed to be.
Why does there have to be a knot in it if it's just because it's less, or just because it's less expensive?
Well,
or are you just saying that's more
I
likely
think
to
he's
happen?
just using that as an example for like
the thing is, wood that
imperfections
has
in the wood.
knots in it is like second grade wood. Even for building, like knots are like a break in the structural integrity of a piece of wood. So like if you're building a table or something, it's more desirable to have wood without knots in it too. Like even for tables where it has, no one cares about how a table sounds.
I guess what I'm meaning is I'm asking. So a lot of like cheap guitars are made with knots in them.
Like
Is that
second
what
grade,
you're saying?
not
I
necessarily
mean, I don't know. They might be. I mean, this one.
But second grade wood.
Yeah,
This one
it could
has
be a
a
lot
knot in
better.
it. You can see it right there.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I guess there's one there too. And there's one there on the back.
Well, how much does that affect that? That's electric, right?
Yeah, with electric, it's not as effective.
It's not really
as
going
it
to
would
work.
if it was an
I think as far as like an acoustic thing, like Daniel was asking if it's subjective before, like.
I mean, it is subjective because I have a really nice acoustic guitar, and I have this one that I just bought recently that's like a like really cheap guitar from the 70s. And the reason I bought that, well, a lot of people really like those. They're these Yamaha guitars from the 70s. A lot of people really like them. But I bought it as kind of a project thing. But also, sometimes cheaper acoustic guitars, which one of the things that makes that one really cheap is that it's actually laminated wood, so it's not like solid pieces. It's a bunch of really thin pieces that they glue together to make it like a thicker piece. And that makes, in some ways, that's actually like a stronger material to build something out of, but also it's much cheaper and you can use like scrap wood to do it or whatever. But it has a much different sound, which sometimes it might be better. It just depends on the situation.
So,
but like objectively, there are things about it that are like not as good, I guess. Like it may not.
Going to be things that there's a difference, right? There has to be, but
yeah.
someone like me, it's not really going to notice as much between an acoustic guitar. So, like, it's almost What were you going to say, Daniel? Besides, just
I like all this conversation about guitars, but I don't really know much of anything about guitars. I played one for like 3 months and then I haven't touched it, which I actually bought from you, Wagner.
He's bothered by this entire conversation. He's like, I didn't give up on that. Don't remind me about this.
I want to know. I wanted to
play Rivendell by Rush.
That's actually the only song I know. But I wanted to keep generalizing this, and so I was thinking about you, Tim. What kinds of things do you buy? And the first thing that came to mind is healthy food, and that reminded me about nuts. Okay, I know for a fact that you've spent like 50% more on deluxe nuts because they have walnuts. I don't even know. I've been with you when you spent more on deluxe nuts. Okay. All right.
Do it.
I want to know if you really think that makes a difference. If paying more is really better, or if you would just as much enjoy the $1, roasted peanuts with knots in them or something.
Naughty nuts.
Well, no, peanut. The difference there is that's like comparing guitars and drum sets. Like peanuts are just way less expensive than anything else. They're not even a real nut.
No. I get that it's not a fair comparison. I get that our conclusion about nuts is not going to apply to guitars, but I still, just for fun, I want to talk about specific instances and how they vary. So, but you're right. The overall price point makes a big difference, because 50% more on a can of nuts is way different than 50% more on a nice guitar. So you're
How much
right.
more is it normally for a guitar, John?
Well,
Just to drag it right back to that real quick.
I mean, so that Yamaha guitar from the 70s that I bought, I got it secondhand on eBay, so it's gonna be cheaper than. Well, the thing is, if you account for inflation, I don't know what it would have been like new now, but I bought it for $40, which is like there. It's hard to even find a guitar that cheap in a store new. If they even, I don't know if they even make guitars that cheap. But my nice one I think is probably it was given to me, so I don't know how much it costs, but I think like new it would have been around $1,000.
Okay.
And that's not like
Yeah.
that's not even that expensive for a guitar. I mean it's a
Yeah.
higher end, but like
I think I've heard you talk about it before,
real
where it's like,
getting a custom guitar made by somebody could be like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's also, Daniel, why you can't really. The comparison's just a little bit weird.
I get that. That's the whole point of a red
I'm
flag.
going to continue talking. I'm gonna continue
A red
talking.
flag does not exist so that we can say expensive.
You're also not supposed to announce it every single time you do it in the show, too. You know,
Announce
Well,
what?
that you're doing a red flag.
No. I want to. I want to make that a thing. I want the red flag to be a thing. So
Just
I am going to
wave one all
announce
the
it.
time.
I don't care what you think. But no, I
Let's do
get that. The whole point of a red flag is not to say that guitars and nuts are the same. Like
Yeah, I
the
know.
whole point
I
is
know, and
to
I was going to
examine
continue talking.
what the differences are and why certain bits of advice, like hey, expensive isn't always better, sometimes
That's
apply.
bullshit. Expensive is always better.
Exactly.
I'm just going to go against everything you guys said
Grass
because
is always greener on the
because if you look at guitars, maybe you can make your dumb little argument about things being less expensive and them being the same. But then you look at nuts. You look at peanuts. They're shitty. There's like your body doesn't even want to digest them. It just shits them out afterwards. Or
That's a
you
good
get
thing,
deluxe.
right?
No, that's not a good thing. That just means they're
you don't
worthless.
gain weight.
No, that just means that George
Your body
Washington
absorbs
Carver
nothing.
didn't really do that much whenever he used peanuts. He just gave us something else shitty that's stuffed into our fat faces. But you get the deluxe nuts, you get Brazil nuts, you get pecans, you get cashews, almonds, all this stuff, and it's better.
And
so
you
therefore,
still shit them all out in the end.
No, not cashews, not almonds. I mean, I just don't even check with that. I kind of just go in blissful ignorance. But
All right.
yeah, and almond butter and cashew butter are just better anyway. They're better nuts. They stand up
Okay.
better.
So here's my next.
so well, you can go, I guess. Are you still doing the same subject of cheaper?
Go, John.
Okay, well anyways, like more and more I think I am starting to think that like paying for things is worth it a lot of times. And even with guitars, like I was saying, there's a huge difference in the way they feel and like the way they're put together. Like there's a lot more chance that that $90 guitar that I have might just like that stuff will break on it, or that it will like the wood will warp over time or something because it wasn't dried properly or whatever. There's chances for things like that to happen. And like the finish on it when I first got it wasn't good, and even like I like the fact that I did the finish myself, so like I kind of take pride in that, but it's not a great finish. And if I bought a really nice guitar, I could have this thing that like feels perfect. Everything is like all the details are like perfect. It looks great. It feels great. So like those things are worth paying for at a certain point. I think with acoustic guitars, the price makes a huge difference. In my opinion, it does. I guess there's like a law of diminishing returns where like at some point you're paying like 50% more for a 2% increase in quality, whereas like at the bottom of the graph it kind of goes up quicker, where like if you buy a $50 guitar and you buy a $200 guitar, the $200 guitar might actually be 4 times better than the $50 guitar. But then if you
go 800,
yeah,
it might not be that much better.
It might be like 50% better or something like that. Who knows? Like I don't know what the exact thing is. We're just saying numbers, but
yeah,
I think that's part of it. But I mean, I don't know. Like I used to be all into like finding cheap things, and I just bought a $40 guitar a couple months ago, and I like having it. And I'm glad that I have it. and like it is better for certain things that I might want to do, but I wouldn't want that to be my only guitar. And
Yeah.
I like if I could choose between that and my expensive one, I would probably keep my expensive one just because I think it actually is like better in a lot of ways. But yeah,
Okay.
I
So
don't know.
this
More and more I'm
this
starting to think that price matters. I didn't used to, but
this brings us to a point about like economics and game theory, which is kind of cool. This takes me all the way back to my RuneScape days, okay?
Oh god.
You're taking any chance to do that.
Wait, seriously? Do I do that a lot?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember talking about RuneScape for a long time. All right.
Fruit salad.
Fruit salad.
I'm green. I'm gonna be back.
Okay. But this actually applies to our guitar discussion. So I remember playing RuneScape, and you buy food restores your health. I don't know, it's probably changed in the last like 10 years, but in RuneScape, food used to anyway, probably still does restore health. And every kind of food would restore X amount of health. Let's say there was fish. Fish were pretty popular. I'm sure these statistics aren't quite right, but let's say a lobster healed 90 health, and a lobster would sell for 200 gold coins. The next food was a swordfish that would heal 100 health. All right, so that's about 10% more health, but it would sell for, say, 400 gold coins. And I remember that always confused me for a long time. Like, it's only 10% better, but it, it, it costs twice as much. Something like that. Okay? And here's the conclusion that I came to, my little middle school self or whatever, which I still think is pretty valid and pretty cool, okay? The reason that it's not a one-to-one correlation, the reason that 10% more value can cost twice as much is because there is a limited, in RuneScape anyway, it's because there's a limited space in your inventory, okay? So I'm trying not to rant, but this takes a bit of explanation. So you only have, I think it was like 28 slots in your inventory. So when you're going to run and try to kill people or kill a monster or whatever, you need as much health as you can carry in your inventory. And even though switching from lobsters to swordfish only would get you 10% more health, it all has to do with the maximum. It doesn't matter that it's only 10% more. It increases my maximum. And this, I mean, I'm not an economist, but I feel like this has to be an incredibly important um, uh, influence in all economies where value doesn't come from the product itself, but also maybe your capacity to consume the product or how much of the product you can hold even.
Well, yeah. I mean, that'd be true everywhere too. That's like the whole thing about money not being worth anything on an island, or besides being able to burn it.
Yeah. That's a really important point in all of economics. So I guess what I would ask you, John, is like with guitars, like yeah, maybe the $800 guitar might be only 5% better than the $200 guitar, but isn't it true that you want to increase your maximum? You want to do the absolute best that you can in every single song, regardless of how much it costs? I mean,
yeah.
does that apply at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially true of like professional musicians where like it's not just a thing about them having a nicer guitar. This is also like a thing that they use to make money. So to them it's worth more than just that 10% that it might sound better to them because it like it makes them happier while they're playing. Maybe like the fact that it sounds good encourages them to play better or to come up with better songs or whatever. And so that's like something that you can't really put a price on. Also, like for someone who's not a professional, like say you can only have one guitar. You're married and your wife doesn't want you to have 7 guitars like I have or whatever. I might have 7. 1, 2. I'll count later. I don't know how many I have, which is sad. But if you say you can only have one guitar, well, isn't it better to spend a little bit more and have the best since you're only buying one? Like if
Right.
you're gonna buy 20 guitars, then maybe it's not worth buying 20 of the best guitars because of how much money it's going to cost. But if you're only having one, maybe you should spend an extra $1,000 for that like 2 or 5% difference
Right,
that it'll make
right.
because this is the only thing you're going to have and you're going to have it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's very true, and I like your comment, Tim. That money on an island being worthless is exactly what I was trying to say with this whole economic point. So
The
that's
other
all
thing,
good stuff. Go ahead.
this is maybe a little bit controversial too, but
Controversial.
I've thought about this a lot. Um, is that like people like to like criticize buying things for the brand or like or other things like that, or like people talk about listening to musicians because of the way they look or something. Like some people, you only listen to this band because they look cool or like they're really hipster or something like that. Like they fit into this like um aesthetic or whatever. There's like this
Yeah.
thing that has nothing to do with their music that defines them, and people like to say that that's not a legitimate reason to like something. But I've been thinking recently that that's not really true, and like sometimes the thing as far as brand that I've been thinking about is like sometimes there's like a name brand thing that I really want, and then there will be some off-brand version of it that a bunch of people say is just as good, and it might actually be just as good as the name brand thing, but I know that even if I have that, I will still think about the name brand thing. Even if I know, like, scientifically that they are exactly the same,
Come on.
I
this is
might still,
controversial.
like, and for me, sometimes I feel like it's worth to spend more money just so that you don't think about it anymore.
Yeah, it makes the voices go quiet in your head for a little bit. I get
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah. That and the
I
thing
do
with
that.
people listening to bands because of how they look. I mean, I think that influences the way that that the way that you interpret it. So like, I guess you could say this about like food, food too. Like you could go to some really fancy restaurant and get a steak there, and somebody might be like, "Oh, well, that steak is no better than something from Longhorn Steakhouse that you could have got for $10, and you paid like $40 for it, and it's not that much better." But the thing is, like, sometimes the fact that you're at a fancy restaurant and you're like, this steak is really expensive. You're not gonna like scarf down that steak. You're gonna sit there and like really think about how it tastes and stuff. And I think that's true. If you could say the same thing about like people criticizing bands for how they look or whatever. Well, the fact that they look a certain way influences how people listen to their music. Does that
Yeah, yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I mean, if scientifically you could prove that everything was the same, then I think the voices in your head would stop anyway, and you should just buy the cheaper one. But I think what you're saying maybe is that there's more to a brand than just the product. There's the whole feeling that comes with it. There is, with the restaurant example, there's more than just the steak. It's also the atmosphere
Yeah.
and the opinion that people have of it, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that.
It's like image. And
Yeah,
I
No,
think
you're
we should
paying for the
not
surroundings and the.
I think we should not criticize people as much for buying into image as we do. Or as most people, like a lot of
right.
people criticize people for buying into images, and I
I
don't think that's
agree.
totally legitimate.
What's
I
enjoyable? It's enjoyable to play an image sometimes. Like people don't like what you were saying about the steakhouse. It's not like a rich person has to keep on going to the steakhouse. They're paying for the experience for whatever reason they enjoy it, whether that's just because it's more expensive and that's a thing like what you said, John, where it just tastes better there. You're going to savor it more, or if you enjoy the dude there, you enjoy the air there, you enjoy the drinks there, you enjoy something more. But even if it's not that, it's still, it's like that or like a band. It's like something that people, it's something they can play into. It's something they like make as like part of their, I don't know, part of them. Like a band, the way you were talking about a band too, a band, uh, the way they like the way you were saying, the way they maybe even they dress up, but the way they present themselves, the way they do their advertising, the way they put out stuff for concerts or for music is going to change how their bands are, or not their bands, how their fans act towards them, towards other people. Like
I
different fans from different kinds of music change. Even the same kind of music, if it's like more serious, you're going to get different. Like the same people will react different ways to it just because you brand yourself different. If you brand yourself as we get drink and get fucked up, something like that, then people talk about, yeah, no, I rage to that versus I really just like listening to the beauty of your music, and it's yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I was at this store today and there was like canned music, and it was playing this really popular song, and I can't remember what it's called or like how it goes. I can't remember what song it was, but there was one part where I was like, I noticed that there was this melody in the song that was exactly the same as a melody in another song that I really like, and I was like, so that melody is not like the only part of the song. It was like 4 notes that they both share in common. And I was like, why do I hate this song, but that other song I really like? They have these 4 notes. And it's like, part of it is just because when I think of the other band that's like unknown, that has this song that shares the same 4 notes as this really popular song, I think of them as like a band that takes what they do really seriously, and like they're really serious about it, and they're trying to write these amazing songs. And even though they have the same 4 notes or however many notes it is, the intent is different.
Yeah,
But
I've been trying to say this for like 10 minutes, so I'm cutting you off, Tim.
it's been like 2.
Probably. I agree.
Before I forget.
I agree that image is a huge part of a brand, but I think the even broader point is that it's not just the image. I think the broader point is that there's all kinds of stuff that goes into a brand or a product that is part of a brand or anything, music. It's not like, let's take music. It's not just the music and the image.
That's why I keep saying it's the experience of the whole thing. It's the experience of the dining.
I like experience. Yeah, it's the artwork that goes with the album. It's the history of the band members. What's their background? Why are they making music? What are they trying to say? It's more than just image. It's all kinds of stuff.
But at the same time, it can also be that they don't have that they don't, because there's a lot of stuff that gets sold now that doesn't have any kind of I mean, it's not about whether not as much food, but but music, where it's like you're just downloading offline, you go into concerts or something like that, where it's more centered around. But it's still an experience of that, where it's not about like art necessarily. It's just about having fun and it's like they call themselves artists, which I used to be more where I was like, well, this is just pointless because you have no substance to your music. But I'm more okay with it now. I mean, I shouldn't need to like justify it, but in my head it's normally because they're still doing something where they're living off of something creative versus having to do a job. So I can at least respect that.
I could be wrong, but I think that's one of the ideas between like or one of the ideas behind like abstract art or modern art or postmodern art, where it's like we're not doing this to send a specific message. We're not doing this for this reason and this reason and this reason. We're just doing this because whatever, that's what we're gonna do. And
that you just described every single pop song. We're gonna do what we're gonna do. We can't stop us.
There we go. That's our beat. We got it. John, can you remix that clip right there?
The next
but I don't.
song.
I don't know. Does that is that true? I mean, I'm not an art expert either. So, but is that true about kind of modern or postmodern art, where it's kind of just saying like we're gonna this is what we made, so there it is. It's art. If you like it, you like it. If not,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I think especially like the earlier stuff, like in like the 50s and 60s or whenever it was that that stuff started, like I think especially then people were like trying to say something like that where it's like this isn't art because it means something. It's art just because I made it.
Yeah, I was at. I guess. Wow, I didn't realize this till just now, but this is our first time recording since I disappeared like a month ago. Which also do you guys remember when we covered that CoinFire story, and we were on their website and we're like, well, it looks like their latest thing was published at this time, and then they didn't publish anything for a while, and I think it was serious, or maybe it was a joke. I don't know, just stuff like that. We were all confused about the CoinFire website. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That
only me and Tim.
He's
that
gonna come onto the chat right now and be like, "Hey, excuse me,
that's
I'm
been
under
our
subpoena. Let me ask you some questions. Or I'll
that's
answer
been
some questions. Are you under subpoena? I cannot say, sir. I
that's been
cannot
our
divulge
website.
any
Shut
information."
up! Holy crap! That's been our website for the past month, where like we sporadically posted stuff and like it was on the wrong days and we skipped
Like he's in
weeks,
on it.
and it's
No,
like,
he's the only one doing it. He's always like, "Yeah, we run these weird episodes where it's just him doing random shit, and John and I have no idea."
all I'm saying is if anyone came to our website within the past month, they would look at it and be like, is this serious, or are they like under arrest or something? What is happening right now? I don't know. That's been our website for the past month, and I apologize. Not really, because it's something I plan to do, and I don't really have a problem with it. So I'm not going to apologize for something like that. But just so you know, we recognize that, and that's part of our brand. That's part of our image. Is like where you go to our website and you're like,
Why are you telling people this?
this is so cool because what is it? Right? We're postmodern.
Well, see, actually, I've been thinking
That's the
about
best
this.
way to describe it.
I
What is it?
I've
This is so
noticed.
fun.
I mean, I've known for the last month that this has been happening, and it's kind of made me nervous, to be honest.
We're just
Like, I'm like, I feel like when Daniel comes back, we're gonna have no listeners, and like, we're like completely everything that it took us 2 years to build, which is sad because we haven't accomplished that much. Like, considering how much work we've put into it, it's
Yeah.
completely gone. But like, now that you're saying it, the fact that we're talking about this on air, I think is part of our image. Like the fact that we're talking about that we literally just screwed ourselves over on our own show is part of the image. And
Yeah.
maybe that will actually keep some people around. Who knows?
Yeah.
You're staying for the
Yeah.
ironic
They respect us for the
humor.
honesty. Well, you. I'm not.
Oh man, this is fun. We're gonna have a fun time trying to decide how this whole hour went
And I can
after we
feel it.
stop. But we are at about an hour right now, so I guess we'll wrap up soon. But there's one more activity. You know, this is the internet, so there's tons of room for activity here.
This is another red flag.
I don't know, but he's fucking. Are you channeling Muhammad Ali right now, Daniel?
Okay, guys. All right, guys. Here's the next activity. This is it. All right, I want to go around in a circle because this is like middle school camp, summer camp right now, and I want to talk about everything that we're eating, drinking, and/or inhaling right now. So for me, the circle goes Wagner, Tim, John, and then me. All right, Wagner, what are you eating, drinking, and/or inhaling right now?
Well, what I'm drinking is Belvedere vodka, Polska vodka. It's all right. It's vodka.
I'll be honest. I don't actually know if I've ever had vodka straight. Still to this day, I just
You're
don't
drinking
think I have.
Everclear. I think it's okay.
I'll give you a good substitute. You get a can of paint thinner and you drink that.
No, it's not that
Alright.
bad.
It's pretty harsh. But anyway, I'm vaping this juice called Fantastic Juice Blends with a Z, and it's called Dodo Bait. It's a mango flavor, and it is pretty good.
It's a refreshing mango
It's
citrus.
a lovely little
That's
Dodo on there.
I also, speaking of inhaling things, that I also thought in the middle of this show
Oh.
right here, of Hestia because they had an article, a magazine wrote about Hestia like a week ago. If anybody doesn't know, Hestia makes craft filtered cigars. And actually, a lot of the stuff in this article is just what we were talking about. How their brand is kind of just built behind we're a higher class cigarette, like we're for hipsters.
They are for hipsters. They're totally for hipsters.
We're for people who only smoke when they drink. We can't say it's healthier, but it's higher class for sure, and that's who we target. And just like we've been saying for this show, I'm completely okay with that, and I will buy them because because they say they're higher class.
Oh, I smoked 2 of them today.
Yeah, you can buy them with Bitcoin if anyone cares. But that's why with our new show, and as we continue with Yumi and BTC, and we have done this in the past a little bit, we are high class. There's no question about it. We're the highest class there is. We're the best podcast there is, and that's why you listen to us. So that's cool.
Daniel gets aggressive like at random points during the podcast.
Deal with it.
We're the best. Now you all can go fuck yourselves back in podcast land.
All right,
Death to all of the podcasts.
Tim, what are you eating, drinking, and/or inhaling right now? Or I don't know. I guess I should just say consuming, because I don't know. Maybe you're drinking something through your ear hole or something. I don't know.
I'm having to listen. What?
He's having an enema, actually. Tim's
I've been.
Enema.
When Tyler hasn't been looking, I've been shoving his bottle up my ass and opening it up a little bit. No, but I've been sipping a little bit on his, also sharing his vape. And,
so what you're saying is you're not original at all. You just rip off other people's stuff.
He's a leech.
No, it's not that I'm not original. It's that I'm a leech because I'm not going to share my stuff with him. I already did, and then I've just slowly gone out. I had water here. It's slowly all gone away, and I'm trying.
Now that is high class.
Well, no, water, and it was mixed with
Is it Voss water?
No, it wasn't Voss water. It was just Coriolis water out of a
That's like the lowest class
Coriolis.
water.
No, it's out of a Brita filter, but that Brita filter, the filter light has been red now for 3 months, so I don't know how much it's cleaning.
I feel like anyone that doesn't know what Coriopolis is would think that it's a fairly high-class brand. Like, it sounds like Coriopolis water. Like, that sounds like a thing that you would see for like $6 in a hotel room.
Yeah, that's one of those things you'd be like, I think I'm willing to pay more for Coriopolis water.
Exactly.
It's funny because everybody I know who lives in Coriopolis will not drink the water unless it's filtered.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like gross water.
It's worse than Stowe. It's worse than Stowe water. Stowe water. No, Stowe water is pretty good. Sometimes it has a nice little metallic taste to it. That's actually what we should talk a little bit.
Iron.
I've heard Coriopolis water used to be good before there was like some kind of accident on the island.
Probably, yeah. There's literally but that's the same thing with Stowe though. Is they're right. Stowe's real close to it, and Coriopolis is to a bunch of fucking power plant and stuff.
Coriopolis is downstream.
Yeah.
Stowe is.
No, everything's just fucked up here. There's a road that you know the one like right around. Have you ever gone to the Coriopolis Library or in that area?
I've been in that. I was just there I had an eye doctor appointment there the other day.
Eager Eye or something like that. But they well, there's one road that's just completely blocked off, and it's just been like this for the one that just has it looks like there was just an earthquake right on that road.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like a car-sized hole.
I
just cracked into it.
I drove past it to go to the eye doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like and they haven't touched it yet. They've had a crew there for like a couple weeks now, but they just like sit there like I don't know what to do with it. It's just.
So yeah, don't pay more for Coriopolis water.
No, just get bottled. Just get spring water from Walmart.
Unless you really enjoy the like life history, the biographies of the people who make Coriopolis water, then if you enjoy that part
if you're really into that experience and the whole like maybe tasting lead. So what's the Phoenix, Daniel?
What's the what? The water. People. No one here drinks the water from the tap without filtering it, except for me because I'm too lazy. So I'm probably gonna get like, what do you get from tap water? Like HPV or something? I don't know.
I mean, I drink my water from the tap, but our water
No.
I think is pretty
Actually,
decent.
the
It's
big
not.
reason
I
I
don't think
do,
it's going to give you anything. It's just dirtier.
for me, it's
It
more
hurts your chakras.
it's more on principle for me because I grew up on spring water where like we had our own spring and we just got water and
That
drank
really
it.
earthy
That's
water.
why his eyes are good. That's why he's the only one that doesn't have fucked up eyes.
And
We all,
yeah,
we all were drinking fluoridated water. Speaking of
it's
Aiden,
seriously, it is principle. It's like, listen, this is the water that I have. I'm not going to waste my time and energy and money filtering it when I should be able to just drink it. Like
The earth is giving them the water.
I'm not going to let these, I guess, government people, like, I didn't want to make this about government, but that's really what it is. I'm not going to let them affect my life when I can just be like, no, sorry, I'm just going to drink the water. I don't care how bad it is. So it's
the
really a
libertarian
principle thing
hero.
for me. And
We'll talk about something after we're done, but I just want to bring it up. Remind me. Unless you
all
want
right,
to continue.
now
Well,
all of our
I'm just
listeners
about
hate
the
you.
Libertarian Party. Well, they already did because you already tried to turn them against me like a divorced mother.
I don't
So,
try to
bitch.
turn them against you.
Anyway.
They're already against you, and I'm just
See, you're just angry and you act like you're so
Tim,
far
I'm
above it.
not-
Anyway,
shut up. I'm
did you
not
hear about the
angry.
fat guy who
Calm
stripped at the
down.
Libertarian Party? Like a gathering of them. He just like got up on stage and just stripped or something like that.
No, I didn't hear that. Thank you for that. You know, it's funny because we were looking like when we before we were going to start this show, we were looking through all the news from today, and we were trying to find a huge story that we could make this show about, and we couldn't think of anything. Like we just went through all the news, and there's just nothing big going on. So the best we got is like a libertarian stripper. So, all right, John.
Yeah.
John, what are you
Is he
eating,
even, like,
drinking,
local
and or inhaling right now?
Well, I was drinking this Trogs Perpetual IPA, which is actually the first time I've had it, which is weird because I've had like most of their, well, not most, I've had a lot of their beers, and this is the first time I've had this, so it's a long time coming. I don't know why, but yeah, a like craft beer, more expensive kind of beer.
There you go. There you
But,
go.
I mean, I finished that, and now I'm drinking water out of my Yeti. And actually, I was thinking about my Yeti when I was talking about the name brand things, because there is a rip-off brand of Yeti that everybody says is like actually better than Yeti, and I was like, but if I get that, I'm just gonna be like thinking about the Yeti the whole time.
See, that's what happens if you listen to
So
a
yeah, I'm
different
drinking out of
podcast.
my name brand Yeti.
If you listen to a different podcast, all you're gonna be is like, oh, I could be getting Yumi and BTC right now. Oh, I need it. I need
You're all
it.
just sluts for us, aren't you? Anyway,
Yeah, so
yeah,
right
it
now I'm
wasn't-
completely like consumerist, like whatever.
Good. Just
Snob.
consumerism.
I'm a
full steam ahead,
snobby
baby.
consumer
It's.
right now.
I think it's hilarious because numerous times on the show, you know, a year back or so, we would spend time being like, we would go off for 10 or 15 minutes about how I'm a cheapskate, so I did this, or I'm such a cheapskate, so I use this website, or I'm such a cheapskate, so I bought
I
this.
don't think any of us are paying for DVDs yet. I don't think.
Wait, are you talking about pirating there? Is that a pirating reference?
Oh, speaking of that, I just saw somebody who got their PhD. This is on Facebook, and they like posted a picture of them from their graduation ceremony, and it had this huge watermark across it. And he was like, "This is because I'm not paying $35 for graduation pictures." And then one of the comments was like, "You wouldn't steal graduation pictures."
You wouldn't steal your graduation
Like
certificate.
those ads where they're like, "You wouldn't steal a car," like
wouldn't
those
play that car.
anti-pirating ads.
Oh, that's good.
I would if I was able to.
All right, so I guess it's my turn. What am I eating, drinking, and or inhaling right now? Which, I don't know, should we make that the name of our next show, eating, drinking, and or inhaling?
That could be one of our segments if we do the
Yeah.
variety thing.
I
What are you
really,
eating?
I like that. That will be one of our segments. It's actually a pretty decent one. But yeah, so eating, nothing right now. I don't really eat much of anything.
Maybe a
Um,
sleeping
That
crackers.
sounds
no.
good.
No, it's embarrassingly true. There've been multiple where it's
You're
hit like
such a freak.
it's hit like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, well, I guess I should eat something today. So, well, okay,
See, I've been forcing myself to eat less because I don't want to stop drinking beer, and I keep getting fatter.
yeah. Well, part of it's because I had to miss lunch because of I'm not going to get into this whole story because we're already over time. So we'll save it for another time.
Oh
But
no,
I
they're Daniel. They're on the edge of their seat. You didn't get hungry one day. You didn't get angry.
I know that's why they got to come back next week. But yeah, I was trying to register my car and I didn't pass inspection, and I ended up taking a 2.5 hour lunch so that I could have some like tatted guy from Napa like JB weld my OBD2 connector back into my car. Anyway,
Did you make that up, or is that actually what it was?
no, it's completely true. It's
It sounded made up.
100% true. I didn't pass inspection, so I went to for.
No, I mean the JB whatever O2.
JB Weld. Yeah, no, JB Weld is like a liquid welding epoxy. It doesn't actually weld. It's just an epoxy that can connect metal together, and it's called JB Weld. But yeah, and the OBD2 is onboard diagnostics. That's what they plug into your car to tell them what's wrong. It's called OBD2. Anyway,
I know nothing about cars.
you know about guitars though. Where
Yeah.
was I? Eating, drinking, and/or inhaling. Yeah, haven't eaten anything recently. Drinking, Jägermeister that I've been sipping from a red Solo shot glass.
I didn't even realize you hadn't eaten anything whenever you told me you were doing shots of Jaeger.
I know that's the thing though. I wasn't doing
Doing
shots.
shots.
I was sipping them.
Who
So-
does that?
Because I'm.
Nobody said
Sipping shots.
Jägermeister. Nobody said goes, let me savor
Jägermeister
this.
shots.
All right.
Give me a snifterable of Jägermeister, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to relax next to my fire and listen to
Give me a
dubstep.
Jägermeister and a vape, and I'll just sit here in my like leather armchair
And
and I'm actually classy.
I know you're joking about it, but that pretty much.
No, I'm not joking. I know you would do that. You would sit in front of a fire in a leather chair with a vape and a Jägermeister.
I would. That would be my.
And I would be
freaking
sitting
night.
across the room with a glass of scotch and a cigar.
I did have a few cigars this week. I haven't had a cigar in probably months until this week. I had like 2 or 3, so that's a good thing. But I'm still not finished. Drinking, I covered that. Inhaling, yeah. Vape. This is an E-Leaf iStick, 60 watt, temperature controlled, and it's got I think it's raspberry in here right now, which I got from Mount Baker Vapor, who accepts Bitcoin. I bought it with Bitcoin, so that's where I'm at with inhaling right now. I wish I had a Hestia. I really do. Haven't had them in a while.
I'm going to order
I
some.
still stand by what I said like 40 episodes ago that real men smoke real plants.
So what? You a weed advocate now?
I mean, I smoke.
He has more respect for me.
Yeah, I would rather.
than he does of you with the e-cig.
I mean, I would not frown on somebody smoking weed like I would frown on I wouldn't frown on somebody smoking weed, but I frown on everybody who vapes.
People who smoke
I
chemicals.
judge you.
That reminds me. They had a conversation on Free Talk Live the other night about what makes something a drug, and some people were saying that cannabis isn't a drug because it's
Oh
just
my
a
god.
plant.
Oh my god, fuck those people, Daniel. Everything, heroin's from a plant, cocaine is from a plant.
No. I get that. The
The
guy's
amount of
argument,
stuff that, yeah. Okay.
the guy's argument was that to be a drug, it has to be rendered, was the word that he used. It has to be like concentrated or extracted or reconstructed or something.
There's a reason
And-
why weed is so much more powerful today than it was. Like, it's not like making
Okay, well, what
people
if
go
you say
crazy like they do.
THC is a drug?
Yeah,
because
THC would be a
nicotine
drug.
is a drug.
That makes more
Exactly.
sense, saying like
Tobacco
that.
is a drug, but it has a drug in it.
Exactly. That was one of his arguments. He said tomatoes and eggplants have nicotine in them, a little bit, but nobody says that tomatoes or eggplants are drugs. And I don't
It's
know.
just
That was his argument. So.
We label it for how it's going to work, for most people, and most people are not going to be able to be like, oh, well, I don't know about tomato. What? Tomato.
Yeah, get a buzz from a tomato.
Yeah, you kind of have to use discretion. But also, the vape thing reminded me how I said that I frown on everybody who likes vapes. Vapes are something that, like, I will not
Frown
buy.
on me right now. Frown.
He always frowns. That's what his face always looks like.
Shut up.
That's
Anyways,
that's,
I will actually not buy into vapes because of the brand and image that they have.
Yes.
Like, that actually makes me
Yes.
not want to buy them.
Oh, score. That means I'm making it in life right
It's like
now.
the opposite of buying something because of the brand. I will, like,
Yes.
purposefully avoid them
I'm with you
because of
there.
all the people that I see with vapes.
I'm with you there, not on vapes, but on rejecting things just because of the image. I do that from time to time. So
I'm there with
That's
you.
why I don't listen to
Like, I
I would
would
just
just
walk around a college campus more, and then maybe you'll hate vapes.
I reject Tim just because of his image. So, all right, guys. I guess it's time to call it. I'm showing about an hour 17. I enjoyed this. I think it went pretty well. So we'll I'm sure we'll have lots of
Pretty good
opinions
friends
on
group.
it over the next week, and we'll text each other about how good or bad it was. But I guess we're gonna wrap up here. This has been an evening with you, me, and BTC. I wish I mentioned that at the beginning, but I like that name.
Yeah, we kind of an evening.
And
Have you ever said good evening to somebody?
A high-class evening featuring Jägermeister and vapes with you, me, and BTC.
Jägermeister and
There are actually
strawberry
times where I've
lemonade.
wanted to say good evening to somebody, but I was like, that would make the most sense right now. But if I
Yeah,
say
but it
I'm
sounds so
like,
fucking weird.
if I say it, I'm gonna sound like such a jerk. Like,
I've made myself do it a couple times to people, and immediately I always feel stupid. And it's never worth it. I'm always like,
Even
good evening. I'm like, oh my god.
I sound like such a prick.
even
Good
saying
evening.
hello,
You said to
even
sound really
saying the
sarcastic.
whole word HELLO, even saying hello is just weird. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, hello's
hello.
weird now.
I agree.
Hello.
like, no, you should be saying
What
hi
is
or
wrong
what's
with
up
the
or
world
how are
today?
you.
I just gave up. Now I just say what up to people. It's just so much
Okay,
easier.
guys.
Oh shit! What up?
What up?
Here come that boy.
Exactly. What up, man?
I
You don't
remember
even-
that.
hey.
That actually happened to me in France. I was walking through a park, and some like 12-year-old, he could tell I was American, and he looked at me and he's like, "Hello," and I looked at him, and
My
the
name is
first thing,
Pierre. I'm from.
the first thing I said was, I looked at him and I'm like, "Sir," and I was like, "Wait, he has no idea what "sir" means."
Nobody does, Daniel. It's just
Anyway,
like it's a universal gesture.
Oh,
People just get it.
Just that guy.
So, all right, guys, get to you, me, and btc.com. This really has been fun. And
I just saw that earlier today too.
Boy.
Oh, yeah.
okay, guys, we'll
Did not
catch
expect
you maybe within the next few weeks. We'll do it again. I have no idea. That's it.
Grace you all with our presence.
Tweet us. Tweet to @you, me, and btc, and get to ymb.tc/live and vote in our coffee poll. Warm or cold nitrogenated coffee from a vending machine. You, me, and btc.com/live. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you next time, if there is a next time. Peace, guys.
Never
You stay
know.
classy, San Diego.
What about Orlando?